What if I told you that reality, as you know it, just expired? What if the things you see with your own eyes, the voices you hear from your loved ones, and the history books on your shelf are about to become nothing more than digital hallucinations? Google CEO Sundar Pichai just went on national television and admitted what keeps him up at night. He calls it a nightmare. I call it a confession. He says the danger is that we won't be able to tell what's real anymore. But he's not telling you the whole story. Look at this image. Burn it into your mind. By the end of this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what this image is and why it proves that the war for your mind has already been lost. The clock isn't ticking, folks. It stopped. Did you catch that? Let's rewind the tape of the man holding the keys to the kingdom. Sundar Pichai, the CEO of the most powerful information gatekeeper in human history, is worried. He says, "When deepfakes get so good that we literally won't be able to tell what's real anymore." On the surface, this sounds like a benevolent warning, a tech genius looking out for the little guy. He dangles the carrot, "We might cure cancer," to distract you from the stick. But let's peel back the veil. When the CEO of Google goes on Fox News to talk about bad actors, he is engaging in a classic psychological operation known as predictive programming. They tell you what is going to happen, so when it does, you accept it as inevitable. Here's the smoking gun that the mainstream media ignores. The technology to create indistinguishable deepfakes didn't just appear out of nowhere. It was nurtured, funded, and accelerated by the very Silicon Valley giants now warning you about it. They aren't afraid of you being fooled. They are afraid of losing their monopoly on the narrative. Think about it. If you can't tell if a video of a politician accepting a bribe is real or fake, what happens to justice? If you can't tell if a war footage clip is real or generated by a server farm in Langley or Beijing, what happens to your consent for war? Pichai says, the journey of humanity is always how do you harness technology. Harness. That's the key word. A horse is harnessed. A slave is harnessed. There is a specific term for what Pichai is describing, though he won't use it on cable news. The term is epistemic collapse. It means the complete disintegration of shared knowledge. It's the moment when truth is no longer an objective reality, but a subscription service. They aren't building a tool to cure cancer. They are building a mechanism to delete objective reality, leaving you floating in a void where the only things you can trust are the things they verify for you. And this is where their facade cracks. Pichai admits the technology is dual use. That's Intel speak for a weapon. He says bad actors will use it, but who defines bad? To a hammer, everything looks like a nail. To an AI trained on censorship, every dissenting voice looks like disinformation. They are setting the stage for the ultimate gaslight. When the economy crashes, that's a deepfake. When a scandal breaks, AI generated. The nightmare Pichai describes is actually their dream, a world where they have plausible deniability for everything. But the epistemic collapse is just the surface level. It's just the chaos they need to sell you the cure. What I'm about to show you ties Sundar Pichai's warning directly to a shadowy global initiative called Project 2025 and the concept of digital identity. You won't believe how these dots connect. It's not about movies or scams, it's about your bank account. Before we descend into that rabbit hole, hit the like button if you suspect the news has been lying to you for years. If you want to see how deep this goes, subscribe. Now, let's look at the blueprint. To understand Pichai's nightmare, you have to understand the dialectic: problem, reaction, solution. The problem: AI deepfakes create chaos. You can't trust your eyes. Grandma gets scammed by an AI voice that sounds like you. Elections are thrown into turmoil by fake videos of candidates. The reaction: the public, you, beg for safety. You scream, "How do we know what's real? Protect us." The solution: digital IDs. This is the endgame. Google, Microsoft, and the World Economic Forum have been discussing this for years. To solve the issue of deepfakes, they will introduce a system where you cannot post, comment, or even log onto the internet without a cryptographically verified digital ID linked to your biometrics. Pichai's nightmare is the sales pitch for a digital prison. Let's look at the data. In 2023 alone, the prevalence of deepfake fraud increased by over 3,000% in some sectors. The technology is doubling in capability every 6 months. We are approaching a theoretical point called the liar's dividend. This is a concept where bad actors don't even need to make fake videos anymore. They just need to claim that real incriminating evidence against them is fake. And because the public knows AI exists, they will believe it. It creates a zero-trust society, and in a zero-trust society, the man with the biggest verification server is king. I want you to see the pattern. They've done this before. 1. They did it with the printing press. They consolidated ownership of newspapers to control the daily narrative. 2. They did it with social media. They used algorithms to shadow ban dissent and boost compliance, creating an illusion of consensus. 3. And now they are doing it with reality itself. The thread tying them all together is centralized authentication. They don't want you to think, they want to process reality for you. Pichai mentions curing cancer. Let's talk about that. While we hope AI cures diseases, remember that this same AI is currently being used to model biological weapons. A study by Collaborations Pharmaceuticals showed that an AI drug discovery tool, when simply told to look for toxicity instead of cures, invented 40,000 potential chemical weapons in 6 hours. That is the dual side Pichai glossed over. It's not just deepfakes, it's the automation of destruction, but they focus on deepfakes because that's the tool they need to control the population. There is another layer here. It's called model collapse. As the internet fills up with AI-generated garbage, the AI models start training on their own output. They start eating their own vomit. The quality of information degrades. The internet becomes a dead internet, a hall of mirrors where bots talk to bots. In that world, the only premium truth will come from authorized sources like Google. If you aren't inside their walled garden, you are drinking from a poisoned well. So, where does this leave you? You are standing on the precipice of the post-truth era. Sundar Pichai's nightmare is that bad actors get the tech. But who are the good actors? The corporations mining your data? The government censoring your speech? The danger isn't that robots will terminate us like the Terminator, it's that they will pacify us like the Matrix. When reality becomes indistinguishable from fiction, apathy sets in. You stop caring about corruption because you assume it's all fake. You stop fighting for your rights because you can't verify if they've been taken. You retreat into the metaverse, into the curated feed, because the real world is too confusing to navigate. That is the pacification of the human soul. Pichai said, "The clock is ticking." He's right, but it's ticking on your ability to opt out. Once the digital verification grid is locked in place, under the guise of protecting you from deepfakes, privacy is dead. Anonymity is dead. This is a war for cognitive sovereignty, the right to trust your own senses. The elite want a world where they are the editors of history, deleting the inconvenient and rendering the profitable. Remember this image I showed you at the start? I told you I'd explain its true meaning. This isn't a stock photo. This is a patent diagram filed years ago for a sensory delivery system. The goal isn't to trick you occasionally. The goal is to overlay a digital filter over your entire life. Sundar Pichai isn't losing sleep because he's afraid the tech will fail. He's losing sleep because he knows it's going to succeed. So what do? You embrace the analog. You build communities in the real world, handshakes, cash, face-to-face conversations, things that cannot be deep-faked. You trust your gut, not your feed. The nightmare is only real if you stay asleep. If you refuse to let them rent space in your head, leave a comment below saying, "I am real." Share this video with the one person you know who is still sleepwalking. We need to wake them up before the verification grid locks the door. I'll see you on the other side, if you're still there.